welcome to I-24 News Sports Weekend Edition with some of the big stories from the world of sports this past week. The biggest story was, of course, the NBA Finals. The Cavs put up a great fight, but it was not enough. The Warriors were the best team in the league throughout the season, and they have now won their second NBA championship. We expected the great performance by Stephen Curry. We knew that Coach Steve Kerr would bring a lot of insights from his experience as a player in these heights, but it was someone else who turned out to be the hero for Golden State. Michael Friedman looks back at this wonderful final series.
The Golden State Warriors have now claimed the 2015 NBA championship.
Their first title in 40 years.
After beating the Cleveland Cavaliers 105-97 in Game 6, winning the series 4-2 in the finals. The most dominant team in the NBA featured the league's MVP, Stephen Curry, who is very proud of his squad.
I think we definitely are a great team and a team that should go down to history as one of the best teams from top to bottom. We have a lot of things to be proud of this season.
While Curry was the main man throughout the season, there was one player who really stepped up in the finals. Andre Iguodala helped lead the Warriors coming off the bench, which earned himself the finals MVP.
I was just happy with winning the ring. I didn't really care about anything else. It's just a plus.
This is a monumental win for the Warriors, ending their 40-year NBA title drought. The team won 67 regular season games and played lights-out basketball throughout the playoffs. Coach Steve Kerr was especially happy being the first rookie coach to win the championship since Pat Riley won with the Lakers in 1982.
I almost forgot just how grueling the stretch is. I mean, 2 straight months of emotional stress and physical stress and just the roller coaster ride that you're on.
Despite the Cavs battling hard, they could not overcome the depth of the Warriors. 4-time NBA MVP LeBron James hoped to bring a title to his hometown, but unfortunately his team fell short. King James has 2 championship rings on his fingers, but also 4 losses in the finals.
No, you lose in the finals, they are disappointing. It don't matter if I'm playing in Miami or playing in Cleveland or playing on Mars. You lose the finals is disappointing.
Despite Cleveland losing out, Israeli coach David Blatt has a lot to be proud of, taking the Cavaliers to the NBA Finals in his first season. Even after losing 2 crucial players to injuries during the playoffs, Blatt took his team all the way to the finals and proved to be a legitimate coach in the league now. And he believes his team will bounce back next year.
We never made an excuse, and I certainly won't do that now. We played our hearts out. The Warriors were better. Those guys will get healthy, and we'll come back after it next season.
Back in Oakland, thousands of fans spilled into the streets to celebrate their team winning the first NBA championship since 1975. Even if the game was more than 2,000 miles away in Cleveland, it didn't stop the local fans from honking their horns and dancing in the streets throughout the San Francisco Bay Area. The party will keep going for the Golden State team and supporters.
And with me here is our NBA analyst, Danny Schweibel. Hi, Danny.
How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you for coming. Danny, you look at the depth of these Warriors. That's insane. Andre Iguodala coming up big as the MVP. Draymond Green being the only one that gets a triple-double. They don't need an explosive game from the Splash Brothers. They have enough guys to take care of it.
What a deep team, and it's no surprise that they won 67 games this season because they were the all-around team. They were the best team. A lot of the times they're talking about this series as LeBron losing, this series. No, Golden State won this series because of all that depth. Klay Thompson didn't even play so well. He was actually a non-factor in most of these games other than, I believe, Game 1. So when anybody came off the bench, they were hitting threes in the crucial clutch times. And we saw Cleveland, a lot of their key players, their bench guys were not at all until the end.
Yeah, and you look at their season, the Warriors, 67-15, only 5 teams had a better record, 39-2 at home. Only one team, the 1986 Celtics, were better. They were the dominant force throughout.
Oh, they were just bananas. And people just, we talk about certain storylines. We talk about the Splash Brothers. But yeah, we don't talk about that depth. We don't talk about how fast this team is. And we also don't talk about their defense because their defense was one of the best in the league. So that's definitely not a story that people have been focused on. So this has been the all-around team. This was one of the favorites in the regular season. And even though, yes, Cleveland had their injuries, I wonder even if Cleveland was healthy, if they didn't, without that depth, if they could even have won it.
Now you mentioned Cleveland. Obviously, we speak of the winners, but the losing side here, they should get a lot of respect. There were injuries, losing 2 All-Stars and yet making it to the finals, being up 2-1. Who knows what's going to happen next week if they're luckier with those injuries?
I mean, it's remarkable what they've done this season. When LeBron first went back to Cleveland, he said, listen, don't expect a miracle in 1 year. You know, we got to work with this young team. But they got a lot of key acquisitions throughout the season, and they put together a heck of a team. And this team, if the base will stay there, they will definitely be a force to be reckoned with, because when healthy, they will have a lot more depth to work with. They had injuries at the very early in the season as well. So this is a team you can't rule out. And LeBron was obviously magnificent in so many ways. Sure, he missed 20 shots in the last game, but he was asked to do everything and play a ridiculous amount of minutes. But his performance was still bananas, and you got to give all the credit in the world to this guy.
And we saw how good this team is when everyone is healthy. Finally, Coach Blatt, we know him very well from Israel. The American media, they had their problems with him, treated him as a rookie. I think he has well established himself as a legitimate coach in this league.
Oh, come on. Yeah, he knows the game. You could tell he knew the game. And you could tell he knew how to work with the emotions of the players. And he would draw up game plans that seemed to work in a lot of circumstances. When you're playing without all your key players, and when you're playing against such a powerful team, you know, you can't expect to work miracles. But again, he took him to the finals. He got him a couple wins in it. Amazing season for him, and he's definitely going to be back with a vengeance next year.
He took his team to the finals on his rookie season. That's something everyone should remember. Now, Danny, you're our NBA guy, but you're also a native of Chicago.
That's right.
And in the city of Chicago, the Bulls may have been perhaps knocked out earlier in the NBA, but it was still a big party as they win the city as the Blackhawks lifted that Stanley Cup once again, finally doing it in front of their home fans. Michael Friedman with a story of yet another celebration.
The Blackhawks faced the Tampa Bay Lightning in Game 6 of the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, gave their way to become champions with a 2-0 victory. The Blackhawks won the series 4-2, giving them their 3rd championship in the past 6 years.
It's the greatest feeling in the world, and you know, once you do it once, you can't wait to do it again. And it was special tonight doing it in front of our own fans. And the building was electric. Town was had a buzz to it.
Much of the credit is due to Duncan Keith, who scored the winner and was named the most valuable player in the playoffs. The defenseman was then presented with the MVP trophy. The Blackhawks were able to win with high-paced hockey, all-star players both on offense and defense showing true skills on the rink. This was a special championship for the team, winning in front of their hometown fans for the first time since 1938.
I mean, they're all hard, and they both mean a lot. To win this in front of our fans in Chicago, you know, we've had such great support over the years, and, you know, to win it here means a lot. It's special.
This team was able to accomplish greatness these past 6 years, putting their names in what many believe is a dynasty for the city of Chicago. And much of the credit is due to a core set of players.
To win the 3rd cup in 6 years with those 7 guys here in Chicago is something special we'll always remember, and, you know, what a team, what an organization to play for.
Thousands of Blackhawk fans watched in the bars in Chicago, and it was all celebrations. The faithful supporters then went into the streets of Chicago near Wrigley Field, the home of the Chicago Cubs. As the tradition goes in hockey, Lord Stanley's Cup is now touring around the city, and fans will have to now figure out where it will be in hopes of seeing that special piece of silverware.
Oh yeah, Blackhawks.
Lord Stanley's back in Chicago. It is a beautiful thing, folks. Here we go. You like that? You like that?
How you wanted to be with those guys in Chicago. I saw that.
I did. Listen, they're going to be celebrating all summer. This team is an absolutely incredible team. Listen, in modern hockey, they're a dynasty. Whatever you want to call it, it is a dynasty, because with the salary cap, it's hard for teams to win back-to-back.
It hasn't happened in 20 years.
That's right, and it doesn't happen often. Even the LA Kings, who won the Cup last year, they didn't even make the playoffs this year. So the Hawks were the team this year. They have 3 Cups in 6 years. From 1961 to 2010, they had a complete drought. It was one of the longest droughts in hockey. Now every team wants to emulate this team because of their heart, their courage, and they have a core of guys that have played in all these finals, and so it's been an amazing story for them.
And how big is this for the city of Chicago? We know the Cubs are not doing great for centuries now. The White Sox did not win championships for a long time, nor did the Bears. The Bulls, we saw they were good. They were knocked out in the Eastern semis. The Blackhawks, they saved the city. It's a sporting city.
Oh, everybody's following them. Remember, the Chicago fans are mostly Bears fans, Bulls fans, the sports, the baseball teams. But now, obviously, the Blackhawks are the team that everybody wants to live up to. And the Bulls are on the cusp. They're making it deep in the playoffs, but they definitely they want to feel that feeling like they felt in the 90s of what Blackhawks are doing right now.
Danny Zweibel, it's been a pleasure having you with us through the entire season. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Thanks.
Now to motorsports, and just a few months ago, it seemed like the generations were shifting in the world of MotoGP, with the young sensation Marc Marquez winning 2 championships, leaving the veterans behind. But the kid still has some things to learn. The old guard is not gone just yet. The Catalunya GP was yet another thrilling race between 2 of these giants.
The Spanish Grand Prix took place in the Catalan capital of Barcelona, with the drivers speeding in the blazing sun. The temperature on the track reached almost 50 degrees Celsius, but that did not prevent the 97,000 fans from attending the race. Jorge Lorenzo went in front from the start and led for a record 102 consecutive laps. Defending champion Marc Marquez suffered another blow as he crashed for a second straight race while trying to overtake Lorenzo. And the Spaniard showed his frustrations after crashing out in the 3rd lap. Other riders also found themselves unlucky as bikes were spinning out of control and crushing them off the track. Jorge Lorenzo rode through the finish line and his crew were celebrating his 4th successive victory. As the Spaniard fell to his knees, fans gave him big high fives. He then lifted the trophy and spoke about the challenging race.
Very hot. In all the weekend, we didn't have this temperature, so today it has been very difficult to repeat the pace I have yesterday morning. So Valentino improved in these conditions, and I get a little bit worse, so it has been very difficult to solve.
His teammate Valentino Rossi pushed hard throughout the race, but had to settle for 2nd place after trailing just less than a second behind the leader. Despite losing out to Lorenzo in the race, Rossi still leads by 1 point in the total standings as the drivers battle to be crowned the motorcycle world champion. The next race will take place in the Netherlands on June 27th, and Jorge Lorenzo will seek his 5th successive win.
And joining me here now is Odette Grober, host of the I-24 News Culture magazine and an avid MotoGP fan. Hi, Odette. Thank you for coming.
Hey, Jonathan. How are you?
Fine. Yourself?
I'm doing wonderfully. Come on. And with this season, how could you not? It's such great fun. It's an incredible season, very competitive, and great battles throughout, and a lot of fun. So I'm happy.
I remember we were sitting here pretty much at this stage last year, and I said, no, come on, all right, so generations shift, it happens. Valentino Rossi had a great career, but his time is up. Marquez is coming up. You told me, hold on. What did you know last year that I did not know?
I didn't know much because Marquez did end up winning last championship and dominated throughout, but he didn't bring it this year. He started not so great, and we're seeing him. He didn't finish 3 times. He didn't finish the race, and his chances for a 3rd championship are slim. Of course, the man in front at the moment, just 1 point, and we'll talk about that, is Valentino Rossi. Trying to get his 10th championship throughout all categories, and that's crazy, especially when you take into consideration that Rossi's weakest point is qualifying. And he won these wins, and he finished on the podium starting from the 2nd and even the 3rd row of the grid. So he will definitely have to improve his performance in the qualifying to be able to keep up with Lorenzo, because what we've seen in the last few finishes, Lorenzo didn't start the season very strong, but in the last few races we see him starting from the 1st row or from pole, and from the get-go running ahead, and Rossi is unable to pass the 5 or 8 riders that he needs to pass and catch up with Lorenzo. So he will have to really improve in qualifying. But, all in all, it's an incredible season. Ducati is doing amazing. The Andreas...
and Dani Pedrosa is not even around.
Dani Pedrosa is not around, yeah, but we see Andrea Iannone, Andrea Dovizioso doing wonderfully. And, I think about the 12 or even 15 riders, the whole difference there is like a second. So we see stuff like Marquez or Iannone fighting in qualifying 1 to get their bikes in the first 12.
The first position.
Yeah, and it's incredible. It's stuff that we haven't seen before. So I think we're going to have an incredible season here.
And this Lorenzo-Rossi fight, do you think it can go on all the way as we approach the midline of the season?
I certainly hope so. You know, Lorenzo is looking super strong, dominating throughout, and I'm afraid that as an avid Rossi fan, I'm afraid that's what's going to happen. But Rossi's definitely going to give him a fight for his money.
Yeah, but if someone can give Jorge Lorenzo a fight, that's Valentino Rossi. Let's remember he won a championship in 2002. That's how great the man is. Oded Grober, always a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And that's it for this weekend edition. Don't forget you can watch this and every other show on our website at i24news.tv. We're also on Facebook and on Twitter. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.